Just last week, China test-fired a submarine-launched ballistic missile deep into the Pacific Ocean, an event Beijing described as routine annual military training, and one that Taiwan, along with Japan, Australia, and New Zealand, condemned as an act of intimidation destabilizing the entire region. It's the latest chapter in a decades-long, deeply complicated relationship between Taiwan and mainland China, a situation that continues to evolve. So if you're watching this sometime after we published it, we'd recommend checking the latest news for the most current details. But today, we're not here to take sides in that dispute. We're here to show you the real Taiwan, a small island with an extraordinary history, remarkable geography, and a culture that has produced everything from some of the most advanced technology on Earth to bubble tea. Before we continue, if you enjoy this kind of content, give the video a like and subscribe with the bell turned on so you never miss any of the journeys we have planned for you. 1. An island shaped almost entirely by two very different waves of history within the same century. Taiwan spent 50 years, from 1895 to 1945, as a colony of Japan following Japan's victory in the First Sino-Japanese War, a period that left a lasting imprint on the island's infrastructure, architecture, and even culinary habits. Then, following Japan's defeat in World War II, the island came under the control of the Republic of China government. And just a few years later, in 1949, that same government relocated to Taiwan entirely after losing the Chinese Civil War on the mainland to communist forces, bringing with it roughly 2 million people, along with much of the mainland government's gold reserves and priceless imperial art collections. 2. A museum holding one of the largest collections of Chinese imperial treasures anywhere on Earth. The National Palace Museum in Taipei houses an enormous collection of Chinese imperial artifacts, paintings, ceramics, and jade carvings, many of which were part of the collection amassed over centuries by China's emperors in Beijing's Forbidden City. When the nationalist government retreated to Taiwan in 1949, it brought a significant portion of this collection along, and the museum's holdings are so extensive that only a small fraction can be displayed at any given time, with pieces rotated regularly, so visitors can eventually see the full breadth of the collection across multiple visits. 3. An island whose indigenous peoples have lived there for thousands of years, long before any Chinese settlement. Taiwan is home to 16 officially recognized indigenous groups, Austronesian peoples whose ancestors are believed to have inhabited the island for at least 6,000 years, long predating any significant migration from mainland China. Linguists and anthropologists consider Taiwan one of the likely origin points for the broader Austronesian language family, which today stretches across an enormous swath of the globe, from Madagascar off the coast of Africa all the way to Easter Island in the Pacific, making this small island a surprisingly significant piece of the puzzle in understanding how vast portions of the Pacific and Indian Oceans were originally settled by seafaring peoples. 4. A name Europeans gave the island centuries before anyone called it Taiwan internationally. In the 16th century, Portuguese sailors passing the island reportedly exclaimed Ilha Formosa, meaning beautiful island, and the name Formosa stuck in Western usage for centuries afterward, appearing on maps and in official documents well into the 20th century. The Dutch also established a colonial trading post on the island in the early 1700s, and remnants of that brief Dutch colonial period can still be found today in old fort ruins along the southern coast near the city of Tainan. 5. The company that quietly became one of the most important corporations on the entire planet, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, universally known as TSMC, produces more than half of the world's semiconductor chips and an even larger share of the most advanced chips used in smartphones, artificial intelligence systems, and military technology. This concentration of the world's most critical chip manufacturing on one relatively small island has made Taiwan not just economically vital, but strategically indispensable to the global economy, a factor that looms over nearly every conversation about the island's geopolitical future. 6. a skyscraper engineered with a giant steel ball to survive both earthquakes and typhoons. Taipei 101, once the tallest building in the world when it opened in 2004, contains a massive tuned mass damper, a steel sphere weighing about 660 tons, suspended between the 87th and 92nd floors, designed to sway in the opposite direction of the building's movement during high winds or earthquakes, canceling out much of the swaying that would otherwise be felt by people inside. The damper is even visible to visitors on an observation deck, and during a powerful earthquake in 2015, it swung so dramatically that photos of its movement made international news. 7. An island that experiences a genuinely staggering number of earthquakes every year. Taiwan sits at the collision point of the Philippine Sea Plate and the Eurasian Plate, making it one of the most seismically active regions on Earth, with tens of thousands of earthquakes detected annually, although the vast majority are too small to be felt. This constant seismic activity has pushed Taiwanese engineering standards to become some of the most advanced in the world, particularly following a devastating 1999 earthquake that killed more than 2,400 people and prompted a comprehensive overhaul of the island's building codes. 8. A drink invented in Taiwan that became a global phenomenon most people don't realize started there. Bubble tea, the sweet milk or fruit tea, served with chewy tapioca pearls at the bottom, was invented in Taiwan in the 1980s, with competing tea shops in the cities of Taichung and Tainan, both claiming credit for the original creation. Whatever the true origin, the drink exploded first across East Asia and eventually the entire world, and Taiwan today is dotted with an extraordinary density of tea shops, reflecting a drink culture that remains deeply central to everyday social life on the island. 9. A convenience store density so high it borders on the absurd. Taiwan has one of the highest densities of convenience stores per capita anywhere in the world, with major chains operating thousands of locations across an island smaller than many single U.S. states. These stores function as far more than simple shops, offering everything from bill payment services and package pickup to hot meals and even ticket purchases, making them a genuine cornerstone of daily urban life rather than just a place to grab a quick snack. 10. A mountain range so tall it surprises people who think of Taiwan as a small, flat island. Despite its modest overall size, Taiwan is covered by a dramatic mountain range running down much of the island's length, with Yushan, the tallest peak, rising to nearly 13,000 feet, taller than any mountain in Japan outside of Mount Fuji, and taller than any peak in the continental United States east of the Rockies. This mountainous interior means the vast majority of Taiwan's population is concentrated along the narrow coastal plains, particularly in the west, leaving much of the island's rugged, forested center remarkably wild and sparsely populated. 11. Night markets that function as a genuine cultural institution rather than just a tourist attraction. Taiwanese night markets, found in nearly every city and town across the island, are sprawling, bustling gatherings of food stalls, games, and shopping that typically come alive after sunset and run late into the night. Locals of every age visit regularly, not just tourists, and markets like Shilin in Taipei or Liuhe in Kaohsiung serve as genuine social hubs where multiple generations of the same family might gather for dinner on a regular weeknight. 12. One of the most successful and rapid democratic transitions of the 20th century. Taiwan operated for decades under martial law and one-party rule following the nationalist government's retreat from the mainland, a period marked by significant political repression known as the White Terror. Beginning in the late 1980s, the island underwent a remarkably swift transition to multi-party democracy, holding its first direct presidential election in 1996, and today Taiwan is regularly ranked among the most robust democracies in all of Asia, a transformation that took place within a single generation. 13. A national health insurance system frequently cited internationally as a model of efficiency. Taiwan's National Health Insurance Program, launched in 1995, provides near-universal coverage to the island's population through a single-payer system that has been studied by health policy experts around the world for achieving broad coverage and low administrative costs simultaneously, all while keeping the country's overall healthcare spending as a share of its economy considerably lower than in many other wealthy nations, including the United States. 14. An island whose capital sits inside an ancient extinct volcanic basin. Taipei, the capital, is built largely within the Taipei Basin, a lowland area historically formed by volcanic activity and further shaped by ancient lake sediments before the water eventually drained. This basin geography traps heat and humidity, giving the city notably hot, sticky summers, while nearby volcanic remnants, including hot springs at Bay 2 on the city's outskirts, remain a popular local retreat, allowing residents to soak in naturally heated mineral waters within a short subway ride of the downtown core. 15. A pineapple-shaped pastry that became an unlikely symbol of national identity. The pineapple cake, a small pastry filled with a sweet, slightly tart pineapple filling wrapped in buttery shortbread, has become one of Taiwan's most recognizable food exports, commonly purchased by visitors as gifts to bring home. The pastry's popularity is tied partly to wordplay. In the Hokkien Taiwanese dialect, the word for pineapple sounds similar to a phrase meaning prosperity arrives, making the cakes a popular gift during holidays and special occasions well beyond their simple culinary appeal. 16. A railway once considered one of the most dangerous engineering feats in colonial Asia. The Alishan Forest Railway, built by Japanese colonial authorities in the early 20th century to transport timber down from Taiwan's central mountains, is renowned for its dramatic switchback design, in which the train reverses direction multiple times to climb steep mountain terrain that would otherwise be impossible for a railway to navigate directly. Today, the line operates primarily as a scenic tourist route, carrying visitors up through dense forest to see one of the region's most famous sunrise viewpoints above a sea of clouds. 17. A tea culture with its own globally recognized specialty, grown at high mountain elevations. Taiwan produces some of the most highly regarded oolong teas in the world, particularly high mountain varieties grown at elevations above 3,000 feet, where cooler temperatures and misty conditions are believed to produce a more complex, fragrant flavor. Tea ceremonies and specialty tea houses remain an important part of Taiwanese social and business culture, and premium high mountain teas can command prices rivaling fine wine among serious collectors and enthusiasts. 18. A national obsession with karaoke that predates its popularity in much of the rest of the world. Taiwan has long had a deeply embedded karaoke culture, with dedicated KTV, or karaoke television, venues found in nearly every city, offering private rooms rented by the hour where friends, families, and coworkers gather to sing. Unlike bar-style karaoke found in some Western countries, Taiwanese KTV culture is built around these private group rooms, making it a common choice for birthday celebrations, work outings, and casual weekend gatherings across all age groups. 19. An island that maintains one of the most sophisticated high-speed rail systems outside of Japan and mainland China. The Taiwan High-Speed Rail, which opened in 2007 using technology adapted primarily from Japan's Shinkansen system, connects the island's major western cities, cutting a journey that once took most of a day by conventional rail down to roughly 90 minutes from the northern capital to the southern city of Kaohsiung, fundamentally reshaping commuting and business travel patterns across the island's most densely populated corridor. 20. A diplomatic status unlike almost any other place in the world. Taiwan currently maintains full formal diplomatic relations with only a small number of countries, a situation that has developed over decades as China has pressured nations to choose between formal ties with Beijing or with Taipei, with the overwhelming majority choosing the former. Despite this limited formal diplomatic recognition, Taiwan maintains extensive informal and economic relationships with dozens of major countries around the world, including significant unofficial ties with the United States, illustrating just how complicated and unique the island's international position remains. 21. A film and music industry with outsized cultural influence relative to the island's size. Despite its relatively small population, Taiwan has produced internationally acclaimed filmmakers, including Ang Lee, director of films like Life of Pi and Brokeback Mountain, and has served as a major hub for Mandarin language pop music, known as Mandopop for decades, with Taiwanese record labels and artists shaping much of the genre's sound and style across the broader Chinese-speaking world. 22. A betel nut chewing culture visible along nearly every highway on the island. Betel nut, a mildly stimulating nut chewed wrapped in leaf with lime paste, has a long tradition in Taiwan, particularly among laborers and truck drivers seeking an energy boost during long shifts. The culture surrounding its sale became so distinctive that roadside betel nut stands, often staffed by young women in bright, eye-catching outfits, known locally as betel nut beauties, became a recognizable, if controversial, feature of Taiwan's rural and highway landscapes, generating ongoing public health and social debates over the decades. 23. A former political prison turned museum documenting one of the island's darkest chapters. Green Island, a small island off Taiwan's southeastern coast, once housed a notorious prison used to detain political dissidents during the decades of martial law, part of the broader period known as the White Terror. Today, the former prison complex has been converted into a human rights memorial and museum, preserving cells and facilities as a way of ensuring that period of Taiwan's history, one the government itself has since formally apologized for, is not forgotten by future generations. 24. A baseball culture nearly as intense as Taiwan's love of basketball and table tennis combined. Baseball arrived in Taiwan during the Japanese colonial period and has remained one of the island's most beloved sports ever since, with Taiwanese Little League teams achieving remarkable international success over the decades, and Taiwanese-born players going on to compete professionally in Japan and the United States. Major domestic league games draw passionate crowds, and international tournament victories are often celebrated with the kind of nationwide enthusiasm most countries reserve for their most popular sport. 25. A cross-strait economic relationship that remains deeply intertwined despite significant political tension. Even amid decades of political disagreement, mainland China remains one of Taiwan's largest trading partners, and hundreds of thousands of Taiwanese businesspeople have lived and worked on the mainland at various points in recent decades. This creates a genuinely unusual dynamic, an island whose government and much of its population increasingly identify as distinctly separate from mainland China, politically and culturally, while its economy remains significantly interconnected with its much larger neighbor across the strait. 26. A tradition of hot spring bathing shaped heavily by the island's Japanese colonial history. Taiwan's abundant volcanic geology produces numerous natural hot springs across the island, and the culture of public and private hot spring bathing, heavily influenced by Japanese onsen traditions introduced during the colonial period, remains extremely popular today, with entire towns like Beitou near Taipei and Jiaoxi in the northeast built substantially around hot spring tourism and relaxation. 27. A semiconductor industry so critical that its concentration on one island shapes global military planning, because such an overwhelming share of the world's most advanced computer chips are manufactured in Taiwan, particularly by TSMC. Any disruption to production on the island, whether from natural disaster, blockade, or conflict, would send shockwaves through the global technology and defense industries almost instantly. This reality, often referred to by analysts as the Silicon Shield, is frequently cited as one of the key reasons the international community pays such close attention to Taiwan's security, well beyond questions of its formal political status. 28. An annual lantern festival that transforms entire towns with tens of thousands of floating lights. The Pingxi Sky Lantern Festival, held each year in a small mountain town outside Taipei, draws enormous crowds who write wishes on paper lanterns before releasing them to drift up into the night sky, a tradition with roots in an older practice once used to signal that a village was safe from bandits. The visual spectacle of thousands of glowing lanterns rising simultaneously has made the festival one of Taiwan's most recognizable cultural exports, frequently appearing in international photography and travel features. 29. A remarkably high number of 24-hour bookstores and libraries for such a small island. Taiwan has an unusually strong culture of round-the-clock access to books and reading spaces, including the famous S-Lite bookstore chain, whose flagship Taipei location operates continuously through the night, drawing steady crowds of readers, students, and night owls at nearly any hour. This reflects a broader cultural emphasis on education and literacy that has helped Taiwan consistently rank among the top performers globally in international student assessment tests. 30. A small island carrying an outsized amount of global attention on its future. With a population of roughly 23 million people occupying a landmass smaller than many individual American states, Taiwan finds itself, largely due to its semiconductor industry, its strategic location, and its complex political relationship with mainland China, at the center of discussions about global economic stability and international security that most countries, many times its size, never have to navigate. Whatever direction the broader cross-strait relationship takes in the years ahead, Taiwan's own history, culture, and daily life will keep moving forward, largely on its own terms. And so we reach the end of this journey through Taiwan, a small mountainous island shaped by Dutch traders, Japanese colonizers, a mass migration from mainland China, and now some of the most advanced technology on the entire planet. A place of ancient indigenous roots, night markets, bubble tea, staggering seismic activity, and a democracy built remarkably fast after decades of authoritarian rule. If you made it this far, you now know Taiwan far better than the vast majority of people who only hear its name in the context of geopolitical tension. If you enjoyed this video, leave us a like, subscribe with the bell turned on, and tell us in the comments what surprised you the most about everything you just discovered. See you on the next journey.